So that strike at Sibanye-Stillwater's gold operations has ended after 3 months, following talks that concluded on Friday, where an agreement was reached by the company and the two unions, AMCU and the NUM. The mining group says the deal was signed over the weekend, and as a result, the lockout has been lifted. Now work is expected to return to work over the coming days. For more on this, we can speak to Bonginkosi, Mrasi, who is from the NUM. A very good afternoon to you, sir. Welcome to the program. So 3 months on, was this deal worth the lost wages?
Good day, and good day to the viewers at home. Indeed, it was a long 3-month strike, but we can confirm that at least it is not what we wanted, but we think that it is the start of a new strike, a new era within gold sector. We are used of getting less than 300 rands, 400 rands increase. Now we are talking about 1,000 rands and 900 rands and a 750 increase to the gold miners.
And you'd wanted 1,000 each year, correct?
Correct, that's correct. And we wanted 1,000 rands for each year, but I think the deal is not what we wanted, as we indicated. But I think it was a compromise from both unions and the company.
So when did Labour realize that Sibanye was simply not going to give you 1,000 rand every year, as they had said right at the beginning of the strike?
Remember that both unions are mainly depending on workers giving them a mandate. So as we've been attending meetings and interventions by the company, we then had to go back and be able to engage our members about the realities that we face. And then obviously the workers, I think on the 3rd June, then indicated that, look, I think it's fine, we fought, we think that we're in a position to accept the current offer.
And Business Maverick was reporting on a video that it's seen of the AMCU president, Joseph Maputunja, apparently speaking during these discussions between yourselves and Labour and Sibanye, where he said that white monopoly capital has declared war against black workers. Does the NUM share that view?
Indeed, I think we all have seen that the same bosses are going to banks smiling. We've seen that in Sibanye. Only one CEO pocketing over 300 million rands, and other 8 executives having close to millions also that have been counted. And we still see this thing where black miners are getting nothing. Even to date, the same miners are going to work for peanuts. That is why we're saying that we agree with what President Matunga said in the statement.
And Bonginkosi, you and I and many people watching today will remember 10 years ago when the Marikana strike happened. It was a massive moment in the mining industry. Dozens of mine workers died fighting for a fair wage. Now, after the massacre, the tragedy itself, many had hoped that we'd reached a turning point in terms of fair pay in the industry. Why do you think that has still not happened across the board?
Yes, I think it is still these arrogant companies that still see black people as cheap labor, who doesn't see the value of the lower earning miners to be at a better scale. That is why we then agreed as unions that it is proper that we unite as workers because we've got nothing to lose, but to make sure that we fight the arrogance from the companies and make sure that we get better gains. That is why from now on, as unions, we have learned that when we are divided, the employers are getting more profits on our behalf. It is better to fight as a united front. We are going to continue with that, not only in Sibanye, in all mining companies across the country.
So let's talk about that unity, because when we saw those scenes at the May Day rally, the COSATU rally, where the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, also president of the country, was booed. What Zingi Swalosi, I believe it was, the president of COSATU, was that what that demonstrated also was a unity among workers. AMCU and NUM have been on opposing sides for so many years. How long do you think that unity can hold, and what is it going to take to sustain it, given that to some degree you don't always see eye to eye?
Obviously, we are independent unions, but I think our principle is the same, and we're representing the same members. It is important that we put aside our differences, but put members first. So we think that the unity will last forever. We don't think that it is something that will go away for until a particular point of time. We think that the unity that we have now, it is a threat to the companies. We've seen within Sibanye where companies or managers asking that when are you going to divorce each other? And it was worrisome to hear managers telling us that we must divorce each other. So we are going to continue with this. We know other companies already starting to engage different branches from our side not to agree to this when it comes to them. We want to tell them that we are coming as a united front. And this not only will happen in mines. Wherever we organize as unions, we are going to organize ourselves. We call upon all workers, not only NUM and AMCO, even there are different unions to work as a unit and make sure that they defeat the current arrogant employers.
Mm-hmm. And this agreement that you've now signed with Sibanye, of course, deals with an increase for 1, 2, 3 years. Is there a guarantee, have you given your word to the company that during that period, this 2 to 3 years that's still ahead of us, there will not be another wage strike?
And obviously, when you enter into such agreement, you then agree or cease to enter into any wage increment discussions or debates, unless there is a non-compliance from maybe the company in implementing what is in the agreement. Then as parties, we're entitled to exercise our rights. But for now, we think that with the agreement that we've signed, it will then be able to be managed through the 2 years.
And how helpful do you think those increases are going to be when you consider that, as things stand, we're sitting with a rising cost of living with no indication that things will get better anytime soon?
In reality, they won't go far, but we think that it's a start. We all know that the living cost in the country and in the world is too high. So, but we think that with what we've got, it will at least contribute in something for the workers. We all know that the petrol price, I think 1 litre is 25 rands, and it does not really make an impact. But we think that with other discussions that will be happening, entering into agreements that are going to see workers benefiting more regarding the wage increase, issues of bonuses, issues of profit share, if ever there is such discussion. That is why we then said to the company that let us defer these discussions to operations where we have more time in discussing how then workers have an extra living without wage increases on.
I'd like us to go back, Bonginkosi, finally to what happened in May at the Workers' Day rally where the president was booed, right, by workers because of what they had said was inaction, basically, from government as mine workers suffered 2 months into the strike at the time. The president then said there'd be involvement from the highest level, cabinet. That's when we started hearing more from the Minerals and Energy Minister, Gwede Mandashe. A meeting, I understand, was held with him as well at the time. How helpful was that intervention in reaching this deal that's now been agreed today?
Reality is that their intervention didn't go a long way. I think it was just to bring parties to engage because we were not meeting as unions in the company at the time. But when Minister Gwede came in, I think we managed to have meetings. But reality in terms of trying to find one another, it had to take parties again to be able to engage and finally have a decision. And we know that later on it was Minister Mrasi that also intervened to a conciliation process of Section 150. It also, I think commissioners tried their roles. I think we must also appreciate the intervention from the CCMA level and the director there that was with us throughout the process in assisting us to find the deal.
Thank you so much for speaking to us this afternoon, sir. Thank you.